welcome back to the Synergy Sanctum. My name is Justin. Thank you so much for stopping by. Here at the Synergy Sanctum, we specialize in all things related to Magic the Gathering, with a specific focus on deck building. So I aim to show you very quick deck text that'll show you all of the cards in the deck and how they work together to ultimately achieve the goals of that deck. If you're not already, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate that. And we also have a sister channel now, so head on over to Commander Coliseum and check out their content as well. And for today's deck tech, we have Miss Bumbleflower, an EDH group hug, but also combo deck here. Very upgraded, taking some of the stuff from the pre-con that she came in, but most of it is very more focused and tuned towards a specific plan, which we will go over today. Current TCG market value of this Miss Bumbleflower deck is around $500 to $597. We do have a land count of 34 lands, with 11 of those being basic lands and 23 of those being non-basic lands. So if you've been paying attention, Miss Bumbleflower is a group hug commander, but she is pretty broken and is pretty competitive as well. This deck tech is aiming to take advantage of that competitiveness. So basically every time that you're casting a spell, someone's going to draw, but then you're putting a counter on a creature and it's gaining flying for the turn. And if it's the second time that ability is resolved, then you're drawing 2 cards. So the goal here isn't necessarily that second part. It is to load up as many spells as we possibly can, get into some infinite casts of spells as well, so that we can either make Mrs. Bumbleflower super big and swing at everybody with a flying bunny for commander damage, or kind of benefit from other cards getting those +1 counters. So to start today, we are covering a hugs theme. So these are the group hug cards that are present in the deck. Most of them are giving some type of value to the table. Most of them are focused on giving draws to the table. You do have additional value with the extra land on Rites of Flourishing. Noble Benefactor, one of my favorite cards. When he goes to the graveyard, everybody gets to tutor for a card, so very easy to tempt somebody to do that. You do have some removal with Lauren of the Third Path as well, and then some politicking with Glunch that you can do as well. Getting into our win cons, we have multiple of them in the deck. We don't want to be kind of stuck into one specific focus of winning. We want to have multiple ways of doing that, but this one has been my favorite. So if you're familiar with Intruder Alarm, it says creatures do not untap during their controller's untap phases, but who cares? Because whenever a creature comes into play, you're going to get to untap all creatures. So the deck does have a ton of mana dorks, which we'll cover near the end of the video, and the goal of this is to have one of those mana dorks out that is able to produce enough mana to cast one of the following 3 creatures on the right. So either Shrieking Drake, White Mane Lion, or Fleetfoot Panther. If you're able to cast them, you would ultimately target whichever one you're casting, return that to your hand. It would trigger Intruder Alarm to untap whatever dorks you have out, and then you most of the time end up getting infinite mana, and you can just do this infinitely. And with Miss Bumbleflower out, then she can either put all the counters on herself, you can deck out your opponents, or you can be spreading the counters around as well. The next win con, since we are going to be drawing a ton of cards, is we will eventually sometimes draw out, and we don't want to lose when that happens. So we have everyone's favorite Laboratory Maniac, Triskaideka file. Wow, I said that in one shot. And then we also have 20-Toed Toad. 20-Toed Toad really just needs you to have 20 cards in your hand, and the other 2 do have more specific circumstances with either no cards or 13 cards in your hand. And then just the kind of I win card. So Approach of the Second Sun. Most white decks run this. If you cast it twice, you win. And then my personal favorite, which I don't think gets enough love, is Reverse of the Sands. Reverse of the Sands is so fun, especially in group hug decks, because everybody ends up coming at you eventually, and then you cast this for 8 mana, and you get to take their high life and give them your low life. And you can also use it to politic at the table and kind of spread the life totals around. We do have another win con here to go infinite with tokens. So specifically, Ivy Lane Denizen with Scurry Oak makes a billion squirrels and also makes a billion Scurry Oak. That also works with Rosie Cotton of South Lane. And then in addition, with Rosie, you can also do Basking Broodscale to get a billion Eldrazi spawn tokens that you can sack for a colorless mana. Additional +1 counter value here, we're running Toothy Imaginary Friend, which makes Toothy super big, and then you get to draw. Forgotten Ancient's really good as well. Lots of +1 counters happening. More draw with Dusk Legion Duelist, Communal Brewing, and Branching Evolution to kind of add those +1 counters, and then Crystalline Crawler for the mana. We are running a decent amount of tutors because we want to be able to get those win cons to our hand quickly. So whether it's a creature, an instant, a sorcery, an artifact, or enchantment, there are multiple ways of doing this, with most of these being single cost tutors to then kind of plan out the next turn to either go infinite or deal with the board. We've got a ton of additional draw here, some of it kind of group huggy with Secret Rendezvous and Cut a Deal, others of it like Brainstorm and Fairy Mastermind solely benefiting you. Last March of the Ents is in here because why not? And then Inspiring Calls, since most creatures will have counters, you get to draw and also protect them. Then we've got this area here, which is just additional good stuff for the deck. So specifically for this part, counter spells and removal. So we are running a lot of counter spells, a lot of them kind of sticking on the group hug theme, but then others like the Dovin's Veto and the Rendered Silent kind of like messing up the board state a bit. We have Removal and Cyclonic Rift, as well as Path to Exile and Swords to Plowshares. Starfall Invocation is our sole board wipe aside from Cyclonic Rift, because if you gift somebody a card, which you're doing anyway, you get to bring a creature that dies from the board wipe back, which will probably be Miss Bumbleflower. And then other good stuff in the deck, Teferi's Protection, of course. Core Haven is a really solid land to deal with certain target attacking creatures. We've got Smothering Tithe because everyone's going to be drawing a ton so we can get treasures. And then almost as a backup commander, we are running Shalane, Teller of Tales, a lot of the same synergies and strategies in this Miss Bumbleflower deck, specifically with Allurin and Cloudstone Curio, which end up being combo pieces to kind of keep the engine going on casting spells, especially if you don't have one of those 3 from earlier that get to keep going back to your hand. This kind of gives you an additional option, and it also allows you to play stuff for free from your hand. And then our mana base is pretty significant here just because we are relying heavily on that Intruder Alarm win con. But we do have Decanter of Endless Water because of the max hand size, Chromatic Landing to correct our lands. Most of our non-basics are ones that can be fetched with these 3 across the top, 3 Visits, Farseek, and Nature's Lore. And then we've got our dorks down below. So each of those dorks has basically the potential to tap for any color mana, so whatever we might need in the moment. And then also there is +1 counter synergies here with Kami of Whispered Hopes and Incubation Druid. And with that, our show has come to an end. Thank you so much for watching our video. And if you enjoyed that video, feel free to share it out with any friends who might find value in it as well. Thank you so much for stopping by. We hope to see you again soon. Have a good one.